These are the folks that if you have questions, you need to ask, and this is the opportunity, okay? So I'm gonna turn it over to these lovely people to help us out.
Okay, I'm Crosby Branham. I'm with the Wichita Workforce Center. I'm the Rapid Response Coordinator for our area. So we serve local area 4, and we help whenever a business is facing a layoff or a closure, and we help coordinate services for the employees that will be impacted by that. So I'm gonna go over the services provided through the Workforce Center first, and then I'm gonna introduce Nathan Harrison with Consumer Credit Counseling Services to go over their services, as well as introduce Maureen Reynolds with Unemployment to go over benefit questions. Okay, so the local area 4 is our area. We have offices in Wichita, El Dorado, Wellington, and Ark City. Those offices, there's 28 throughout Kansas. You're welcome to use whichever center is closest to you, and they're all free of charge. So we have services at all of them. However, I'm gonna go over the services provided mainly at our main Wichita location at 21st and Amadon. So we are open Monday through Thursday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then on Fridays, we have virtual services 9 to noon. We're considered a one-stop service. So we have several partners that are located on site, as well as other partners that we partner with in the community. So when you come to the Workforce Center, we're gonna try to get you connected with whatever services you'd be eligible for and connect you in the community to whatever you could qualify for to get you best service. So on site, we have our Workforce Alliance, which is who I work for. We have our WIOA programs, Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act programs, including our adult dislocated worker and youth programs that I'll go over a little more. We also have Kansas Department of Commerce on site, which do our employment services, our veteran services, and our trade adjustment assistance services. As well as we work with DCF, Adult Education, American Indian Council, Job Corps, and Senior Services. When you come into the Workforce Center, there's several things that you can do just as a walk-in. You just check in, and we have computers for internet access, anything related to job searching. So if you need a computer to fill out an application, work on a resume, we have those. There's also fax, phone, copier, all free of charge, as well as a job book with printed applications, because we know that some people like to actually see the applications. Let me go over, see if this microphone's working. Nope. Nope. Okay. So we have the job book printed if you are someone who likes to actually see and hold the application. So again, these are walk-in services. You can use it at any time that we're open, anything related to job searching. Additionally, we have appointments that you can schedule to meet one-on-one with someone. So you can schedule an appointment through our website. I always recommend scheduling an appointment because if you come in and you get on our list to be seen, you might be waiting for quite some time. So you can schedule an appointment through our website. That'll let you meet one-on-one with someone to learn about our services, do interview tips, prep, mock interviews. We can help you job search online. If you haven't had to do a job search online for a long time, we can show you where to go, how to narrow that search down, how to fill out those online applications, and then resume assistance as well. So if you have a resume and it's been a while since it's been updated, we can help you with that. Or if you need to start one from scratch, we can help with that as well. Additionally, we'll help you create or navigate your Kansas Works account. So Kansas Works is a free site that you can use for job searching. I've circled in red where you can see how to create an account. There's also an app for this. So through Kansas Works, you can create an account that you'll list your experience in. It'll help you create a resume through that. And then you can use that site to apply for jobs directly based on what you've filled in with your information. So this screenshot was taken this week, and currently there are 54,000 jobs posted on Kansas Works. So there is a big need. When you put your information in there, you can directly apply to jobs, and also jobs or employers can look for your resume as well through there. And again, you can use it to create resumes and look up training provider information in the area, which I'll go over more as well. Through the Workforce Center, we also offer in-person workshops. If you are not familiar with the computer, or you're not comfortable on it, or it's been a while since you've had to use that, and if you're applying for a job where you might need to start using the computer more, we have workshops over basic computer skills, emailing, uploading, downloading, using the internet, and then also intros to Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel. So some basic starters for if you don't feel comfortable on a computer. Additionally, we have some workshops over job searching, filling out online applications, and also resume assistance. So those are all in person. This is our current May schedule for our workshops, and this gets updated monthly. So you can find it on our website. Also, we have a Facebook page, LinkedIn, Twitter, and those workshop calendars get posted every month. So if you are more likely to get on Facebook and use that, you can follow follow the Workforce Center, and you'll see all these updates about workshops and things offered in our Workforce Center. If you don't prefer to come in person for those workshops, all of them are recorded and are on our YouTube page as well. So you can be at home, and if you're having issues filling out an online application at home, you can quickly watch our video over how to do that, and you might get some tips on how to complete that application if you're stuck. If you're really stuck on the application, you can schedule an appointment and come in and see us, and we'll help you with it as well. Again, so we have our YouTube page, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of it. You can always see our updates through those sites. If you are really comfortable with a computer, we also have a new program called our Digital Skills e-Learning Lab. If you've ever been interested in IT or are comfortable on a computer and you want to boost your resume or get into an IT field, this is a free service. You can get certified in any of those Grow with Google or IBM Skill Build certifications. Normally they cost, but we have a grant right now that'll pay for it. So we have an open lab on Wednesdays from 1 to 4, and you can get certified in those. So if you are looking just to boost your resume at this time or add something to it, or if you're getting into IT, you can get certified in any of those with our Digital Skills Lab.
Is there an online access to that? Sorry.
When you get set up, so when you go to the open lab, there's staff available, and they'll get you started in working through it. And then I believe you can access it from your home as well.
Okay, so you have to start in person.
I believe so. There's also like access points to that, like the public library, we're stationed there too, certain days a week. So I think it's on our website as to what days we're at the library, because they only do the open lab on Wednesdays at the Workforce Center. But it is throughout Wichita. We also have in-person job fairs. So these happen every couple of weeks. This is the most upcoming, this Thursday, May 25th, 9 to noon. We work with several employers in the area. So at our job fairs, it's always a mix of who you're gonna see at those. Some of them do interviews on the spot, depending on the employers. Also just can take a look at your resume and then talk to you about applying. So making that in-person connection can be good before actually filling out the online application. So we do the in-person one, and then there's a statewide virtual job fair. This one is obviously already passed, and the June date hasn't been posted yet, that I believe. But they do have the virtual one monthly. So at the Workforce Center, we have multiple job fairs a month, and then virtually there's one a month statewide. So several opportunities with that. And then lastly, I want to talk about some training resources. So we have several programs at the Workforce Center that can help you with training if you are interested in going back to school or getting into something new or getting certified in something. So these are all the programs we have. Currently, we have funding through that WIOA with our Youth and Dislocated Worker program, which I'll talk about more. Our One Workforce, that I'll go into detail about. And then if you also would qualify for American Indian Council, vocational rehab, there's Flint Hill Job Corps, and we do registered apprenticeships through the Workforce Center. The two main programs I want to talk to you about are Dislocated Worker and our One Workforce grant. So Dislocated Worker is if you have been laid off or terminated and you also qualify for unemployment. That program offers training in what's considered on-demand in Kansas. So there are several industries you can go through that program. The most popular ones are our advanced manufacturing, healthcare, IT, and transportation logistics, mainly getting your CDL. So all of that is through the dislocated worker. Again, must be unemployed or laid off or terminated and qualify for unemployment benefits. Our other grant, the One Workforce Grant, you do not have to qualify for unemployment benefits. You just have to currently be unemployed or underemployed at the time that you apply. So if you are unemployed when you fill out our paperwork, or if you're making under $15.60 an hour, you can qualify. If you're making more than $15.60 an hour but aren't working full time, you could also still qualify. Through that grant, we have scholarships opened in advanced manufacturing and IT. That grant is what's considered employer driven. So if an employer in the area is having a high demand for something that they're constantly hiring for, they'll identify scholarships. For example, we've had several CNC operator ones, or A&P mechanic, robotics. Currently there are 300 scholarships, so it's a wide variety of advanced manufacturing and IT positions. So the employer will identify, we're gonna need to hire 50 CNC operators. They'll open up those scholarships, and then when you're done with training, you'll get a guaranteed interview at that employer site. So we're trying to connect students and employers to each other right out of school. Those scholarships, you can get between $6,000 and $13,000 assistance. And then for both of these programs, we also offer supportive services with them. So that can be fuel reimbursement to get you to and from training, childcare for any dependents while you're in training, tools, uniforms, or clothes for a new job offer at the end of training. And we also offer, in a 12-month period, one-time rent and utility assistance for that. So our goal is to help you get into that training and then stay in that training and be successful. If you are interested in either of those, this is our flyer for our One Workforce Grant. You'll be able to find it on our website. There's a QR code that will take you to the website as well. Or you can just Google Wichita Workforce Center, One Workforce Grant, and there's a job seeker referral that you can fill out. You'll just list your information. It will actually get directly sent to me, and I'll reach out to get you started in that process. That page will also list all of the scholarships we have open, and currently we have them at WSU, WSU Tech, and Hutchinson Community College. So there's a wide variety. Also, the dislocated worker program, if you qualify for that, those have sessions, orientation sessions every Tuesday at 10 a.m. So you can just directly sign up to get started in that program, and someone will meet with you to get you going through the paperwork and process for it as well. Okay. Before I pass it on, does anyone have any questions over anything I just covered or didn't cover through the Workforce Center services? I know that was pretty quick. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pass it over to Nathan Harrison with Consumer Credit Counseling.
Thank you. I will not take up much of your time. I appreciate you having me here today. I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about our organization and what we do. We are a nonprofit in the Wichita area. We have a Wichita office and we have a Salina office, both of which we offer. Our organization, our mission is to help people find financial stability, or at least that's how I like to see it. Stability is the name of the game. And we work with people through two avenues. We do that through one-on-one counseling, and we do that through group classes and things like that. So we have classes around the city, open to the public, that you can come to, and we can talk about basic money management and how to work with money in a healthy way. And then we do one-on-one counseling as well. So if I have significant amounts of debt, or if I want to work on my credit, or if I want to put a budget together with somebody, if I'm just feeling overwhelmed with finances. Our services are free. Again, we're a nonprofit. I don't work for a bank. I have nothing that I'm supposed to sell. It's a safe environment. Our counselors are kind. It is not a shameful thing to come and talk to somebody about finances. There's a unfortunate, I think there's a lie in our world about money, and that you're supposed to keep it a secret, and that you're supposed to keep it a shameful thing. It is difficult, and it is stressful, and we need each other, and we are a resource that you can take advantage of for free. We do bankruptcy counseling, we do reverse mortgage counseling, as well as all those services I mentioned a moment ago for budgeting, debt management, credit, things like that. Yes, so that is exactly, yeah, and it's free. Yeah, unless we're filing official paperwork for bankruptcy or reverse mortgage, those are the only two things that we have any fees associated with, and even then we have fee waiver programs and stuff. But 99% of the people that we see in our counseling sessions and in our workshops, completely free. We do counseling over the phone, we do counseling over Zoom, we do counseling in person, and we have, if you are near a community resource center, we will often travel to that community resource center to meet with somebody one-on-one if that's what's convenient for you. Yeah, let's keep rolling. This, of course, is a tumultuous time and is a difficult time, and we can only do our best here. Some strategies that I think may be helpful for us. We can look at what we have, thinking about living within our income. I can look back and at my bank statements and see what I'm subscribed to, see that I have Netflix and Spotify and Hulu and all of these things that we forget we have these auto drafts for. Living within our income, especially during a crisis mode or whatever circumstance that we're in, is going to be an important part of being able to remain stable financially. Develop a spending plan, especially if you have a family where there are people that rely on your income, or if you have a partner. Especially if there's more than just you in your household, get everybody on the same team and have everybody in your household just track expenses for 30 days. It's a real kick in the butt it's a jump into the deep end of it. It's difficult to do, but you can do it, and it will give you a lot of information about about where my money goes. That's a great exercise that you can do. But yeah, again, when living within our means, and especially during a difficult time where income is unknown, or it's, we're in a transition phase like this, again, being a tumultuous time, we got to communicate with our family, and we got to track our expenses. Keep in touch with creditors, especially if I have cards on auto drafts, things like that. Look up, take 20 minutes, get online, see when things are being pulled from my bank account, see when creditors are pulling things, and if I know that I'm going to be short this week, get in touch with the creditor beforehand. That will be helpful too. They will appreciate that. There'll be less fighting with the creditor in that regard. Again, involving your entire household. Investigate other financial resources. A good resource for this is United Way of the Plains. I don't have a link on here for them, but United Way of the Plains, I like to think of it as they're a spider web of all these different services in the area, where from housing services, healthcare services, law services, food services. They have a phenomenal network of, if I need to supplement some of my food income, if I need to supplement some of my grocery income, I can go to United Way and I can look and see what resources that they have available. Yes, 211. Yeah, exactly. Can Google United Way, or I can call 211, the 911 of social services, I think is what they call it. Yeah, but again, we gotta get scrappy. We gotta get creative in this and keep track of where my money is going. You can also, a good resource is annualcreditreport.com. If I'm curious about what my credit report looks like, if my credit is not where I want it to be, I can do a lot of research online about how to read a credit report, and I can pull up, with this link, I can pull up the exact same information that any bank is going to have on me, any employer, any creditor. I can pull up the exact information that they're gonna have, and I can see exactly what is on my credit report. What do I need to do to make some adjustments on there? That's a helpful thing when I'm trying to take control of my credit. Can hold people hostage. It's not always a fair game, but it's what we're all stuck with. If I'm curious about what my exact credit report looks like, if I'm curious about what creditors are working with, I can use this resource. I can pull this up every 2 weeks. It used to be just once a year, but ever since COVID, I can now pull up my credit report every 2 weeks, and I can make some real headway with it. And again, if it's something that is important to you, we are available. Our resources are available to you. Yeah, we're happy to look at your credit report with you. Yeah, that is all I've got. This is our information. If you're looking for workshops or classes around town, you can find links to our Facebook page on our website. Yeah, if you want to talk with somebody, if you're feeling a little bit hopeless about things financially, again, we have counselors that have been doing this for a long time, that it is a safe environment, it is a private environment. Yeah, please take advantage of our resources. Yeah, I'm going to invite up Kansas Department of Labor. Yes. Yeah, just that.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Maureen Reynolds, Kansas Department of Labor. We're going to talk unemployment benefits this morning. I'm going to tell you how to file your claim. Excuse me. When to file your claim. We're going to kind of talk about how much your weekly unemployment amount may be, those types of things. Okay? So with that being said, we're going to get started. I think you all have packets, or they are available to you. In your packets, if you have them, we're going to have a few sheets of paper that pertain to unemployment. Let's see what side. They're on your left-hand side. Okay? First thing we have is this little booklet, this little brochure. It's going to be real important for you to keep this little brochure because it gives our web address and it gives our telephone number. Unemployment is administered through a contact center located in Topeka, Kansas. So you can't go into an unemployment office. There's no such thing. It's all done through the contact center in Topeka, Kansas. So you will either need to call them or you'll go online to access all of our services through unemployment, okay? So keep your little brochure handy when you get ready to file that claim. The next thing you have is frequently asked questions. Put together 2 little sheets of paper, frequently asked questions. We put together some questions and answers. A lot of times we all have the same type of questions, so we put those answers together for you. They go together pieces of paper. The last meeting that I was at, I gave them my 13 weekly claims questions. So let me see who's going to let me have theirs. You're going to let me have yours. Thank you. All right. Right here are these 13 weekly claims questions. It says, rapid response moving and weekly questions. Every single week, once you file your unemployment application, every single week, you're going to file a weekly claim, and you're going to be asked these same old 13 questions every single week. So we give them to you so that you know in advance what questions you're going to be asked, okay? So hang on to that. Okay? So that's all your unemployment paperwork in your packet. That's what you'll need this morning to take out of here with you so that you'll kind of have those resources available. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this PowerPoint. Takes me about 20-25 minutes. The only request that I have of you is that you please hold your questions until the very end. My very last question says questions. My very last slide says questions. I'll open it up at the end. You can ask me any question about unemployment. I promise you that I'll answer it. I'll go over anything that maybe I didn't cover. If you have a question that you want to ask that I didn't even speak about, I'll go over those things. So just allow me to go through all these slides, and then we'll open it up for questions at the end, okay? The other thing that I want to talk to you about very first, and you are a unique group of individuals because you are educational institution employees. You all belong, or you are employed by a company that provides services to educational institutions, to schools, okay? So being a Durham employee, you are considered tied with a school, educational institution. So for you employees, whenever you become unemployed, typically it's between school terms. So like the winter break, the summer break, okay? This time around though, you're being laid off because the contract was not renewed. So you're being laid off under Warren. Okay, you received your Warren notice from the company. I think it was dated March the 22nd. So you received a letter from Durham saying your services are no longer going to be needed. Our contract was not extended. So you are being considered laid off under Warren. And when you file your unemployment claim, you're going to state that you were laid, that's the reason for job separation. But typically speaking, school employees or anyone that is employed by anything that is connected with a school service, we call that reasonable assurance. And basically, you have reasonable assurance that you're going to return to that same position after the break. This time around, that's not the case because you all are being laid off. But I was told that some of you have already met with First Student. You all did onboarding with First Student around the 1st of May, all right? If you were part of that, if you've already met with First Student and the plan is for you come this fall for you to start driving or whatever capacity you're going to work for First Student. If you did that onboarding in May, then we are going to, unemployment will consider that you are under contract. You do have reasonable assurance to return to a working position come fall. For individuals that work for educational institutions, if you have reasonable assurance and you're laid off, we find that you are ineligible for benefits, okay? So I just want to make that real clear here at the beginning. I'm going to go over the rest of the slides just like I would any other thing, but just keep in mind, if you've already signed a contract or if you're under contract, you have the right to file for unemployment, but we do have to cover reasonable assurance with you. And when you fill out those forms, you should say, yes, I have reasonable assurance that I'm going to start working for First Student come fall, all right? That's my little spiel on reasonable assurance. So we'll go with our regular slides from this point forward, okay? Unemployment benefits is something that is there for individuals that find themselves unemployed due to no fault of your own. That's certainly the case here. It's no fault of your own that you all are being laid off. You're being laid off under Warren, so when you file that initial unemployment application, we're going to ask you, what is your reason for job separation? It's a layoff, lack of work, and there is one option that is there available to you, layoff, lack of work under Warren, W-A-R-N. When you file your initial application, please make sure that you choose that option. You have the right to file for unemployment as soon as the job separation occurs. I understand that that's going to be next Tuesday, May 23rd. So you'll have the right to file your initial unemployment application as early as next week, as early as the 24th, Wednesday, May the 24th, or any time thereafter. There's two different ways you can file an unemployment claim. One is by calling into the contact center. We have a Wichita number, and it's 316-383-9947. Or if you want to use the toll-free number, you can certainly do that. It's 1-800-292-6333. All of those phone numbers filter into that contact center located in Topeka, Kansas. So it doesn't matter which phone number you call, you're still going to be going into the contact center in Topeka. The second way that a person can file for unemployment benefits is by going online. So come the 23rd, your last day of work, you can go online to www.getkansasbenefits.gov, which is there in your little brochure, and you can go online and file your initial application that way, okay? Every single person in here, if you're wanting an unemployment claim, you will have to go to the www.getkansasbenefits.gov and log in, and you're going to go through a multi-factor authentication process. So if you call the telephone number and file your claim by telephone, that's fine, but you'll still need to go to a computer, go online, click our website. It will, the very first screen, after you click on unemployment, there's going to be a big old square box, and it's going to tell you that you have to go through multi-factor authentication process. We're going to ask you quite a few little questions to make sure that you really are who you say you are. We had a lot of fraudulent claims, so we had to put another layer of protection in there for individuals so that we can get truly we can cut down on fraud and truly just get true employees filing for unemployment under their social security number and not someone else. So those are your two methods to file for unemployment, either by calling the contact center or by going online. Just know that your unemployment benefits, they're a reduced income. You're not going to be bringing home the same amount as though you were still employed. I think that goes without saying. So it is a reduced income. Our unemployment is funded through our employers paying quarterly taxes on us. So whenever a person becomes unemployed, we always contact that very last employer and we ask them what is the reason for job separation. I am sure when we contact Durham, they will say you were laid off under Warren, lost our contract, so that should not be an issue as far as your reason for job separation, being laid off under Warren. Your employer is going to be paying those, or they already have paid those quarterly taxes on you, so you should have unemployment monies and funds available to you through employment that you have had with Durham. The first thing that you're going to have to do after filing that initial application, we're going to need to determine if you have sufficient wages. Have you worked long enough to be monetarily eligible for benefits? Okay? If you file your claim in May, after your last day of work, May the 23rd, we use what is called a base period. A base period is 4 quarters of wages or a 1-year time frame. Okay? So we always use gross wages, not your net or your take home. We always determine what the base period is. The base period right now is any employment that you had in all of 2022. So anywhere you worked last year from January the 1st through December the 31st of 2022, we're going to use that as our base period. We're going to take your highest quarter of wages, so January, February, or March, April, May, or June, July, August, September, October, November, December, whichever one of those quarters is your highest quarter of gross earnings, we're going to take that dollar amount that you made and multiply it by 4.25%, and that's how we're going to come up with your weekly unemployment amount. That's how we figure every single unemployment claim is based on the base period, your highest quarter, multiply it by 4.25%, and that's how we will get your weekly benefit amount. So if you work for Durham and maybe you work for another employer, we're going to use any employment that you had in all of 2022 to make that calculation. The maximum amount that Kansas pays is $560 per week. So if your little calculation comes up to more than $560, just know that we max out at $560 per week. Our minimum that we pay is $140 per week. So your weekly benefit amount should be somewhere between $140 and $560 per week, okay? That's always the first thing we want to know is how much are we going to receive? The next thing we want to know is how long is it going to last? We need to know those things. So right now, the maximum Kansas pays is 16 weeks of unemployment, or 4 months. That's the most anyone can receive, is 16 weeks. We always base that, it says 16, 20, or 26. We base the maximum total benefit amount on the average Kansas unemployment rate. So across the entire state of Kansas, we look at what the average unemployment rate is. Right now, it's 2.8%, so that gets a person 16 weeks. In order to get 20 weeks, it has to be greater than 4.8, and in order to get 26 weeks, it has to be greater than 6%. It hasn't been that in a long time. So right now, it's 16 weeks or 4 months of benefits. A claim is good for 1 year, so once you file that initial application for unemployment, you're going to be locked into that weekly benefit amount, that total benefit amount. It's not going to change over the course of the year. If you file initially and then you find employment, and maybe you only file 3 or 4 or 5 weeks of unemployment, and then you find employment, and then something happens to that employment where they lay you off again, then you can pick back up where you left off with that claim, because you have a 1 year time frame to use those monies that are in your claim, okay? We are going to check with the Social Security Administration once we file that initial claim application. I'm required to tell you that. It's a behind the scenes type of thing. We contact Social Security Administration to make sure that everything's on the up and up as far as your Social Security number. Once all that's done, we're going to mail you a monetary determination. It's going to take about 3 to 5 days for you to receive that monetary determination from the time that you file your initial application. It's going to be 1 sheet of paper. It's going to tell you what your weekly benefit amount is. It's going to tell you what your total benefit amount is. It's going to list all employers that you worked for during that base period. So in all of 2022, it's going to list your employers that you had. It will have 4 little columns, and it will show you what your gross wages were during each of those quarters. So look at your monetary determination carefully when you receive it. Make sure we've listed all your employers, and make sure that those quarterly wages look correct. If there's anything wrong or incorrect with that monetary determination, please call the contact center and speak to a customer service rep, and they can help you get it fixed. We can make any corrections on them. But assuming that your monetary determination is correct, then you're going to be well on your way to start fulfilling your weekly requirements. Part of your weekly requirement is that you are able to work, you're available to work, and you're looking for work. Remember, unemployment is there for individuals that find themselves unemployed due to no fault of your own. You have to be able to work, you have to be available to work, and you have to be looking for work every single week that you file for unemployment, okay? You will file that first initial claim application. You'll go online, go through the multi-factor authentication process. Then you'll start filing those weekly claims where you're going to be asked your 13 weekly claims questions. So you can go to our website, the www.getkansasbenefits.gov, click on File Weekly Claim, and then you're going to file your first weekly claim. If you file your initial application next week, because your last day of work is the 23rd, if you file your claim application on the 24th or 25th, the very first weekly claim that you're going to be filing for is going to be for Saturday, May the 27th. Our weeks start on Sunday and they end on Saturday. So every Saturday the week ends, so on Sundays is when you file your weekly claim. Get out your 13 questions, know what you're going to be asked, and you'll file that weekly claim. When you file your first weekly claim, if you file your initial unemployment application as being laid off under Warren, then we're going to waive your waiting week. Typically speaking, your very first eligible week of unemployment is considered a waiting week. It's non-payable. You have to jump through all the hoops, you have to do everything, but you don't get paid for that week. But if you're laid off under Warren, we can waive the waiting week, okay? If you're laid off under Warren, if the business closes in Kansas, or if the business files for bankruptcy, we waive that waiting week and you can be eligible to receive benefits that very first week. You will be required to set up a PIN number. You'll file that weekly claim. If you set up direct deposit, then we can directly deposit your weekly benefits into your checking or your savings account. If you don't go online and set up direct deposit, we automatically mail you a debit card. It's issued through the U.S. Bank. It's called a Relia MasterCard debit card. It takes about 7 to 10 business days for you to receive that debit card from the time that you file that weekly claim. It takes about 7 to 10 business days. We'll mail you the U.S. Bank card and we'll pay you your unemployment on a weekly basis by that debit card. But again, if you want direct deposit, go ahead and go online and set up direct deposit and we can pay benefits that way. A lot of times folks want to know, can I work part-time and still be eligible for unemployment? The answer is yes. A person can work part-time, earn up to 25% of your weekly benefit amount and still be eligible for unemployment, okay? You always report your earnings during the week in which you earned them. Your very first weekly claims question will ask, did you work during the week being claimed? So if you work, answer the question yes. Then it will ask you how many hours you worked, and it will ask you your gross pay, all right? You'll put that in there. If it's less, if it's 25% less than your weekly benefit amount, we'll pay you your full weekly benefit amount. If it's over 25% of your weekly benefit amount, then we start doing dollar for dollar deduction. So every dollar over the 25%, we deduct $1 from your weekly benefit amount. You cannot work full-time and be eligible for unemployment, nor can you work part-time and gross equal to or in excess of your weekly benefit amount. It always has to be less than. And again, the wages always have to be reported during the week in which you earned it. You are required to look for work. Right now, the state, Kansas Department of Labor requires that you make at least 3 employer contacts per week. 2 of them must be verifiable. A verifiable contact is either submitting a resume or a job application. Those are verifiable contacts. So make sure you're making at least 3 employer contacts per week, 2 verifiable. Keep good records of employers that you contact. You can go online to our website and we have what is called a work search activity log. You can print that off. You can go into the Workforce Center, they will print it for you, and you can keep good records week by week of those employers that you contact, because we will ask you for that information probably at some point in time. So you want to make sure that you keep good records. We also require that you follow through with what is called My Reemployment Plan. So once you file your application for unemployment, you get 3 weeks of unemployment benefits. You're going to get an email. So be checking your email. It's going to be saying that you need to comply with My Reemployment Plan services, which basically the Workforce Center is going to help you with resume writing, those type of skills. So be looking for that email to come after you have filed for 3 weeks of unemployment. If you decide to sign up with a temporary agency, I know that there are a lot of temp services in the area. They have great employment opportunities. A lot of times they can put you right to work. So if you decide to sign up with a temporary agency, just please make sure when you go in and speak with them, they have some type of a hiring contract. All temporary agencies have some type of a contract, where in that contract, it will state that once you sign up with them, you accept a job assignment, you complete the job assignment, they require that you contact them within 24 business hours asking for another job assignment. If you do not contact them, if you don't call them, then they will consider that you have quit. So you always wanna make sure that very next day, the assignment ends on Friday, you call them, if they're still open on Friday, you call them on Friday, if not on Monday morning, get out your work search activity log, this is a verifiable contact, you call them, know who it is that you spoke with and see if they have any more job assignments. If they do, great, if they don't, then you can file for unemployment and pick back up where you left off. If you're self-employed, you do need to report any type of self-employment as income. It is reportable, and we will ask you a few questions. Basically, what we're looking at is how many hours are you devoting to that self-employment. If you're 100% wanting to make your self-employment your sole source of income, then that's going to be an issue, because as a self-employed individual, you're not paying into the unemployment insurance fund. But if you just do self-employment on the side, maybe you mow a lawn every once in a while, you sell some Mary Kay cosmetics or something, that typically is not an issue with us. Just report any income as self-employment. Attending school or taking training. Crosby talked to you a little bit about approved training, dislocated worker training. So being a dislocated worker, there are training opportunities that are available to you through the Workforce Center. So if you're interested in any type of schooling or training, I highly encourage you to go in, speak with them, see what training opportunities are available for you, because if they put you in approved training, it's typically a high demand occupation. You're going to commit to that training, you're going to fulfill your training requirements, and then after that training, you're probably going to be able to find work immediately, because it's always in a high demand occupation. So if they put you in approved training, we can work with you and the Workforce Center, where we can continue to pay your unemployment benefits. We waive your work search, so you no longer have to look for work if you're in approved training, and they pay for your schooling or training for a portion of it. So it's the best of all worlds, and it is available to you all as being dislocated workers. So again, I would certainly encourage you to pursue that avenue if you're interested in broadening and going into some other type of field. If you go to school on your own, one of your weekly claims questions will ask, did you attend school or take any training? So if you go to school on your own, it's not through the approved training program, but you're taking evening classes, weekend classes, or online classes, that type of schooling or training typically does not interfere with your unemployment benefits. But if you decide to go to school on your own, full-time, you're taking day classes, you're taking a full load, you're paying for it yourself, then that's probably going to stop your unemployment benefits, because now you're no longer able to work full-time, you're not available to work, and you're certainly not looking for work because you're in school full-time. So again, if you're interested in schooling or training, please speak to the Workforce Center first to see what is available to you, the type of programs that you could be placed in. If you receive any type of pension, the type of pension that is deductible is if you receive any type of pension from a company that you work for during the base period. So basically, if you were to receive a pension from Durham, that would be a deductible pension, or any other employer that you work for during the base period. If you're 62, 65, 67 years old and you receive Social Security benefits, that is non-deductible. That does not go against you, so you can continue to receive your Social Security benefits, and as long as you're willing and able to continue to look for work and do work that you are accustomed to doing, okay? If you receive severance pay, I don't think any severance pay is going to be paid through the employer, but severance pay is reportable and deductible if you were to receive that. If the company pays you out any vacation leave, as long as it's already accrued or earned vacation, that should be non-deductible. You'll have to report it, but accrued vacation pay is non-deductible. If you move, if you change addresses, we always want a good address for you. We always want a good address and telephone number for you. So please keep us informed if you move or change addresses in any way or change telephone number, okay? Your unemployment is considered taxable income, so come this time next year, you're going to have to report any unemployment as taxable income. The end of January 2024, we will mail you out a 1099-G form. So a good reason why we need a good address on file for you. We'll mail you a 1099-G form, which will tell you exactly how much you received in unemployment for the year of 2023, and you will have to give that to your tax preparer and report that as income. If you would like, Kansas Department of Labor can do withholding. We can do federal withholding at 10% and Kansas state withholding at 3.5%. You do have to go online to our website and go under forms and fill out the withholding portion of it, okay? So you can have federal and or state withholding done. If you choose not to have withholding, that's no problem. Just know, again, please, that you will be taxed on that. This is my last slide. You guys are doing awesome. I'm so proud of you. Last slide, I talked to you about do not quit, do not get fired. You only have a few days left until your last day of work. So work right up until the last day that the employer deems as your last day of work so that you can be considered laid off under Warren and your unemployment benefits can be available to you. The last thing that I speak to you about is job refusals. Folks always want to know, just because I'm soon to become unemployed, does the state expect me to accept any type of job that I'm offered? I have told you this morning, you have to be able to work, you have to be available to work, you have to be out there looking for work every single week. But not once have I said where you have to look for work. You get to decide the type of work that you want to do. If there's an employer in the area that is hiring and you, for whatever reason, don't want to work for that company, don't apply. We don't make you apply for certain positions with certain companies. So be smart, be wise as you're out there looking for work. Only apply for positions that you're really interested in. Work with the Workforce Center. They know the area. They know a lot of employers in the area. They know the prevailing wage. They know the hours. They know a lot about the company. So just be smart and be wise, and only look for work that you're really interested in, and only apply for positions that you're really interested in. The only other thing that I think I need to say to you about this reasonable assurance deal is, I already said about the first student, if you did that onboarding the 1st of May. If you did not do onboarding the 1st of May, and right now you are just being laid off from Durham, you don't have any other prospects, you have not committed to any job with a school district, then you file your unemployment claim. We still cover reasonable assurance with you, but you tell us, yes, you were laid off under Warren, no, you haven't been in contact with any school entities, then you should be eligible to receive your benefits up or unless you meet with a company at any point in time that you meet with a company and you agree to start work for them. So let's say maybe the first part of July you meet with a company and they're going to hire you come August. When you meet with that company, you need to let us know, because at that point is when we consider that now you have reasonable assurance. So at that point is when we're going to have to say, oh, okay, we need to stop benefits on this person because now they do have reasonable assurance to start a job in the fall, okay? So I open it up now for questions. Ask me anything and we'll go from there. Yes, sir.
How are you supposed to communicate with the Department of Labor? I received letters from them about PCD. I tried to call all the numbers, never get an answer, leave a message, never get a call back. I've written 2 hard copy letters to the Department of Labor, never received an answer back. You have insulated yourselves from communication with the general public. You call, you get busy, you get a busy signal, we're tough, you can hold on for 4 or 5 hours. You need to have some way to communicate with the people that answer the question that you covered here in 20 minutes. People will have questions about. So how are we supposed to communicate with them?
Your one and only way to communicate with Kansas Department of Labor is through that contact center, the 1-800 number or the Wichita number or any of those other numbers. They answer the phone line starting at 8 a.m. They shut the phone lines off at 4:15 p.m. They are very, very busy. I won't even act like they're not, because they are. But every single day, many calls are answered. Every single day, the same individual can get through 2 or 3 times because they don't like the answer that they receive first. That same individual, I promise you, gets through again because they're persistent in calling. So you have to be persistent. I apologize that that's the way it is, but that's our one and only way for you to reach Kansas Department of Labor.
How many people are working at the call center?
I honestly don't know how many customer service
I
reps.
never got to talk to them. And
Keep on
we'll
trying.
answer the letters.
Mondays are the worst, for sure. After a holiday, of course, it's worse. 8 o'clock in the morning is your best time to try to start calling. It really is, with the exception of Monday. But this, the winter time, of course, is peak season because we have all the construction workers and all that, all those individuals laid off. But the calls are being answered, what I am told, the calls are being answered in an easier fashion than they were. I don't know the last time that you tried to call, but I'm being told that they are answering those calls on a more regular basis,
Which
okay?
they might.
Yes,
What if we have talked to a company and have reasonable assurance right now of having a position, but now we can't get in touch with that company? We're having troubles getting back in touch with the company.
Yep. They give us a number that doesn't even exist, 0000.
but you met with them and they said, yeah, we want you to start in the fall?
Yep. But
And then we
there's
can't
been
reach
no
them.
communication since then.
We're having troubles getting contact back. And if we call there, a lot of them have phones or something where they can call out, but they can't receive calls.
So how did you get in contact with them at first to know to go in and meet with them?
Because they posted it at work.
Yep. They
Say,
said,
contact us?
Mhm.
And you
and
talked.
when they did their onboarding,
Uh-huh.
did the onboarding,
Is this for student?
Yeah.
but now I can't get back in touch with
Well,
them.
wait. If you look in the packet they gave to you, there's 3 phone numbers, they all answer. The people that were there.
I haven't gotten anybody to answer me back. I need to get them my birth certificate, and I'm not getting anybody answering any of my calls.
We're still waiting
I'm
to do
just
our
saying.
second part of the physical
Yeah.
TB
I
test.
called them and they answered you.
Good luck in one way and not the other, I guess.
I guess.
So if we're having troubles with getting back in contact with them,
I would still, if you file for unemployment, we're still going to cover reasonable assurance.
because if I can't get back in contact with them, then do I really wanna work for them? I mean,
Well, what's the point of filing for unemployment if we are under a
Doesn't-
warrant?
There are some people here that may not be choosing to go forward with them for whatever their
There-
reason is. Those people need to have the information to file for.
So she said, what's the point of filing for unemployment,
If we have reasonable
if you have
assurance.
reasonable assurance, okay. I just have to tell you the way that it works, okay? So, you right now are being laid off under Warren. If you do not pursue any educational institution type employment, if you don't pursue that,
You
then
wanna switch
it can be,
jobs or whatever.
we're going to cover reasonable assurance on you, but it can be found, or should be found, that you were laid off under Warren, and the contract ended, so you truly don't have reasonable assurance, okay? So it could be that some of you will receive unemployment benefits, because you're not going to pursue this type of work anymore, okay? But if you are laid off, which you are being laid off under Warren, you all fall under that category. If you pursue this type of work again, and once you pursue it and you accept that offer, then it's found that you do have reasonable assurance and you won't be, or should not be eligible for benefits. But I have to present the whole package to you,
Because
so
what if you
some
want
of you
to
may
do
receive benefits, some of you may
all that
not.
would've been nice to know before the first student decided to set up a meeting with us.
Well, but then you wouldn't have gotten their, you know, their benefit package and your $2,500 when you join and all that.
Okay, so I also need to let people that are doing summer school, you are going to receive another warn letter that will take you to the 29th of June,
That makes sense.
so.
So
that
you
will
folks
be-
don't apply for unemployment now with this separation.
Right, so it would be the
second.
second,
Yeah.
Okay.
June 29th would be the letter you'll be under.
Okay, yes, sir.
So if anybody can't reach the Department of Labor by phone, it would be on the connect by computer. I've never had any trouble with that. So, help others do it, so.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I have a question for Lukey. If, for example, I've, mentioned that I'm not available, but if Don calls me or you call me, to
So-
help out,
So let me just express what's gonna happen. If you do not have a summer school route, you are going to be terminated on the 23rd. I can't call you and ask you to come in and work from that point on. I had to put a list of who had summer school routes, so who's going now until the end of school. If I have extra work that comes available, it's going to go to those people that took summer school routes. It's gonna be offered to them. So, after the 23rd, if you're not going on, you will be terminated in Durham system.
Yes, ma'am.
So on the topic of work refusal, if I get to an interview and it comes up during that there is an aspect of the job that was not mentioned in the lead up to it, that I did not have any reason to accept, and I turned down the job for that reason, is that still considered work refusal for your purposes?
Okay. One of your weekly claims questions every single week will ask you, did you refuse work during the week being claimed? So we always need to report a job refusal during the week in which it happens. Job refusal, in order to have a job refusal, there has to be a true job offer, okay? So if you apply with a company, you go through the interview process, and they offer you the position, tell you your salary, your start date, your benefits, so on and so forth, and then at that point you say, really not interested for whatever reason, that's a job refusal, okay?
But what if it's, I'm sorry, my son just went through this, that he walked in being told it was gonna be 19 an hour, sat down, they offered it to him for $16.50.
Okay.
So is that the same thing?
Okay, so he went through the interview process, walked in, they had told him he's gonna get $19 an hour, you know, but at that interview and at that job offer time, they said, oh, it's just gonna be $16. And he says, no, thank you. That is a job refusal that we need to cover, okay? So you would report it, we'll send you a form, we're going to ask you a series of questions. It's a bunch of questions that we ask. But basically what we're looking at is, what type of work did you do? Are you accustomed to? Do you have training in? What type of work was offered? What's the distance that you're accustomed to traveling? What is the distance of this job? What is the rate of pay you have been making? What is the rate of pay of this job? And with rate of pay, we do look at prevailing wage. So there's a scale, there is something that is called a prevailing wage, and that's what we look at. Hours of work, what are you accustomed to working? What hours were offered? So it's this whole realm of questions that we ask, and we want you to provide real good information when you fill out that form and return it. Then it goes to an adjudication department, they look at it, and they have to determine would a reasonable and prudent person have accepted this job based on all these facts that are given. We clear individuals for job refusals and we deny individuals for job refusals. I honestly cannot tell you ahead of time what type of job refusals we clear and what type of job refusals we deny, because it's a case-by-case situation. So my advice always is to kind of do your homework and try. A lot of employers don't tell you straight up, you know, up front how much you're making, and I know we all work for money. I mean, that's why we work. That's why I work, is to make money to meet my obligations and all. So, but a lot of employers don't tell you that up front. But try to do as much homework as you can so that you don't get to that, you don't get in that predicament where you're there and they actually offer you the job and you have to say no thank you. Because if you walk away at any point in time before the true job offer is made, it's not a job refusal. Okay? That's the best I can advise. There was another hand somewhere. I saw one, but maybe no longer. Any other questions of me? Yes, sir.
Well, I'm retired,
Okay.
and then come back to work. And supposed to be first student hired.
Okay.
Not eligible for unemployment.
If first student is hiring you, if you did the onboarding, then you're going to have to report that and it should be found that you are, that you have reasonable assurance that your job attached, if you did the onboarding with first student.
Okay, we're almost done, just a minute, we're almost done, please.
And we still have to report what we're making,
You mean, your social security?
yeah.
Your social security is non-deductible, you'll have to report it, but that should not go against you. Okay?
All right, if no one has any other questions, I just ask that when we have presenters, to please be respectful of their time they can give us service, okay? So going forward, please just remember that, and I appreciate, your time. Remember, you're here, I'm paying you for the time. Durham's paying you for this service and benefit to you, all right? So I want you to thank these lovely people for coming out, because there's a lot of good information.
Seriously.
All right? So, if you have no other questions, and we're good to go.
Thank you all. Best wishes.
Thank you. I'll see you in a little bit. Or you wanna stay and talk to me? Oh, I can ask you.